Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to a live stream this evening. We had the Super Bowl happen. Boring Super Bowl. I didn't really watch much of it, honestly. It was boring, let's just say that. I tried watching the halftime show. It's really, really bad. All in Spanish. Jets Johnny, what's up, man? Anti-American Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean it's whatever, man. I knew it was coming. I mean everybody knew it was coming with that, but soccer will replace football. Not in the United States. Football is too large. You made Kendrick's halftime show look like a masterpiece. Yeah, I don't really like either of them. The Chad, what's up, man? Thoughts on the kidnapping? Yeah, what a weird situation that is. There's really no thoughts on it. I just think it's a sad situation. That kidnapping to the NBC host's mother, elderly mother. Who should be the next halftime show? I think it's gonna be Billie Eilish. Let's hope not. No, I don't know. Maybe Taylor Swift. They keep saying it's gonna be Taylor Swift, and then it never is. They're gonna give Taylor Swift it one of these years. You know, it's gonna be this huge spectacle, so they can go ahead and do that. I don't know. I don't know many of the other artists, the up and coming artists, but maybe I am too young, but also felt the Turning Point USA halftime show was great for divorced alcoholic fathers. Yeah, that's a common viewpoint of younger people for sure with the Turning Point halftime. It's one of those things to where it's kind of just like look at me like, oh, we're gonna have our own version, and you know the views are not gonna be as good. I guess they did it about as good as you could do it in terms of it being Kid Rock, but I don't know, man. It just seemed kind of corny, I guess. It's like it's Kid Rock. It just doesn't. I mean, it seems like you're kind of just complacent with losing. You want to take over the big stage. You want to you want to get the Super Bowl halftime show, not some alternative, almost like a grift or something. But I don't know. I mean, I guess they got like 6 or 7 million live viewers. People were saying that was a huge win for them. It's definitely not going to be Kanye. 55 million watch Turning Point. Well, that's the total views. The live views I'm talking about was like 6 or 7 million is what it peaked at, probably concurrent views. 143 million views. Yeah, but I don't understand how they could calculate the views that quickly. Doesn't it take like 2 or 3 days? Whenever they talk about views for college football games or anything like that, it normally takes 2 or 3 days for them to actually calculate the ratings. I don't know. They keep saying that maybe they do it quicker for the Super Bowl, but the Bad Bunny stuff, it's like I don't know, man. It's just like what do you want us to do with it? It's in Spanish. And they're like, "Oh, it's inclusive. It's all this stuff." Nobody could even understand it. It's like a sugarcane field for Puerto Rico, I guess. But from what I hear, a lot of Puerto Ricans hate white Americans, anyways. From the island, a lot of them hate white Americans. So it's like whatever. What do you think is the future for the 49er stadium? Levi? Yeah, I don't know what the future is. It's a pretty bland stadium. It really needs some type of they complain constantly about the sun, the way it hits, because they built it. They should have built it a different direction, but I don't think they're gonna get. Maybe they'll get one more Super Bowl. I don't know, man. It's kind of just a bland new Super Bowl location for me. I don't know. I mean, people like it because it's like during the day, I guess, because the game starts at 3:30 in Santa Clara. But I don't find it that enjoyable for the Super Bowl to be during the day. I don't know. Waving foreign flags of the well, that the foreign flags thing I think was about people are starting to really look into it and say, well, they're trying to erase the idea that Americans refer to people living in the United States, and everybody within North and South America, the continents, should be technically classified as an American. What is that going to catch on? I don't see that really catching on. I mean, it's common knowledge that you refer to an American, you're talking about a U.S. citizen. So I don't know. But people were talking about that because it was more of like this inclusive thing with all the Latin American countries, like the two continents together, all the countries he shouted out. But are people really going to remember this a day from like 3 days from now? It's like these type of political statements by people that aren't political, that don't really know, like this performer. I mean, what does it really matter? But I agree. I think in general, like it's a culture thing. The Super Bowl is a major spectacle, so to see it in Spanish is for the NFL. It's just based off of capitalistic greed. They want to give themselves a chance to tap into markets they currently don't have. They already have the United States, so they don't want to hire an American to sing the national. They don't want to hire Taylor Swift. They've already got all those people courted. So you basically got all the messaging from the performance: no whites, inclusive, gays, foreigners, and globalism all in one performance. Yeah. I mean, I don't know the effectiveness of something like that. It was a little bit more subtle, but yeah. But I mean, the most obvious is just the language. I mean, come on. Arizona, I think Arizona's going to lose a few games here. No college basketball team is going to go undefeated. That'll probably never happen. It's too hard in college basketball to go like 39-0 or 40-0. Yeah, the two dudes dry humping on the car. I mean, it's just like, is that not? Come on, seriously. Apparently, you listen to some of those lyrics. It's just all trash. It's about having like 30 girlfriends. I guess that's kind of what you should expect with that type of music. But when you translate the lyrics, somebody was doing it and showing, and it's like, okay. Liberals crying because someone didn't like the halftime show. Well, I guess they're gonna try and go to bat for Bad Bunny, and it's just all forced to me. They basically counter whatever MAGA hates. So if MAGA hates something, they're gonna love it. It's all like forced. But I mean, I guess they would support that globalist, diverse slop. Thoughts on the Guthrie kidnapping? I mean, it's a very sad situation. It's very rare to find that in the 20, nowadays, these ransom type things. So what a weird thing with social media being used now, and yeah, apparently they want Bitcoin. So I don't know. Wouldn't normal Latinos in this country think it's offensive to their culture, dry humping, etc.? Yeah, but it's like rap, so I don't know if they really view it as offensive. If it's sung in a certain type of style, they don't take offense to that. I thought the crypto commercial, the Coinbase commercial, was very bad. Crypto has gotten a lot of really bad. A lot of normies hate it now, and I think Coinbase was trying to basically be as non-crypto as they possibly could for a commercial, and it just didn't really make sense. I mean, but whatever Coinbase puts out, normie people are gonna hate it. I mean, everyone hates white people but wants to live where they are. That's actually a very good description of what happens. Yes. Nick Fuentes liked the halftime show. He tweeted it. Well, he to be fair to him, he is Mexican. So I think he maybe is a fan of Bad Bunny because he's partially Mexican. The NFL wants to do more international games. This is a trade off. Well, it's not a trade off. I mean, international games are also shit for domestic viewership. Nobody wants international games outside of the NFL because they make more money that way. This is part of their expansion. If anything, this just solidifies it. But international games, there's nothing fun about international games. Games starting at 9:30 in the morning Eastern time, 6:30 Western time. The commercials were awful too. You know, I was talking, and the thing about the commercials, this is the problem with the commercials. They all try and be funny. So if you have to, you know, and it's all like this subtle, most of it's trying to be subtle, but it just comes off as cringe. These Super Bowl commercials, they're all the same exact thing. They try and be funny within 30 seconds, and it's just all cringy. It's like low budget humor. It comes off as just cringe from these Super Bowl commercials. It's all the same thing. It's just trying to be, in a subtle way, funny. I know, isn't that crazy about Harry Sisson? How are you born in Singapore and you like have this much pull in U.S. politics? Like, bro, get the fuck out of here. I mean, you don't want to be that, but it's like, dude, why? You're born in Singapore and now you're going to be a top influencer for the Democrats. I mean, what is it, a plant? Well, I didn't watch a lot of the Super Bowl. I mean, I watched parts of it, but I mean, you look at the score, it was 6-0 basically the entire first half. Then it was 19-0. You know, the NFL to me is a product. It's the product has gotten significantly worse. I can't say it's dying because that would just be me lying. But I think the sport has gotten a lot worse. I think the quarterback play is terrible. I mean, you look at this. Look at the quarterback play last night. Sam Darnold was terrible. I mean, they say he wins the MVP, I guess he didn't win the MVP, but he wins the Super Bowl. He was not good last night, right? This is just not good quarterback play. Drake May just horrific, and then they all blame the offensive line. Come on. Like you know how much bad quarterback play we get in the NFL, and all we hear about is, well, it's the offensive line. It's the offensive line every single time. These quarterbacks never get any blame. The overall quality of the NFL is, I think, terrible. Now, I don't know if people will ever finally say that's enough. You know, I'm somebody that used to watch the NFL when I was younger. Maybe I'm just one of the few that's just is like, I don't really care anymore. I still like college football, but who would you like to perform at halftime? I don't know. I'd have to look at some of the top performers and see realistically somebody that would be good at, like a good representative for the country, preferably. Trump German Scottish. Yeah, but he is German Scottish, right? I mean, I think that's well known. You stopped watching after the kneeling and virtue signaling. Yeah, but that didn't affect their ratings at all. Yeah, that stuff was just, you know, I still watched after that. But I mean, you know, the thing is, it's just like the quality. It's like the NBA has gotten so horrible, and no, Trump is not Jewish. He never converted. Do you watch baseball? I used to watch baseball a lot more than a lot of the sports I used to watch more than I do. I mean, baseball I'll see some updates, but I don't watch a ton of it. I don't really have a team for baseball. NBA regular season unwatchable, playoffs good. Yeah, them in the playoffs, I guess, are better. You're gonna focus more on college hoops now. Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, we'll see. But I didn't really do any NFL stuff this year, anyways. So I haven't really watched any of the Olympics. The Winter Olympics, it's hard to get into. Maybe some of the skiing stuff is cool. I haven't seen a lot of these commercials, guys. I didn't really watch a ton of the Super Bowl, so if you're asking me about a specific commercial, they're coming after Howard Ludnick. They want him to resign. Yeah, well, he was neighbors with Jeffrey Epstein. He's gonna have some issues, man. I mean, this is the thing with Epstein, and I mean the way the administration has handled it is terrible. I don't know. There's some stuff I know in the files with Ludnick. I mean, he was the neighbor, and they were friendly. It's a really bad look. Thoughts on the Turning Point USA halftime show? Yeah, I'm not. It's not really my thing. I mean, and to me, it just kind of feels a little cringy, a little forced. I think it was probably as successful as it could have been, getting 6 million, 7 million concurrent people. So I just think, yeah. I mean, does it really make a difference to do it? I guess people are saying it was like a really big win. So yeah, I've heard about Keir Starmer. I don't think he's going to resign. You know, I was looking at this to kind of get some type of perspective. You can see, so March 31st, this is the end of this month. They say 17% chance. I mean, they're saying it's going to happen sometime maybe early in the summer. What a bad tenure for Starmer. And they say just Britain because of the demographical makeup and all the different parties. They say you can't really. It's like you can't govern it properly. I mean, Starmer had an approval rating of like 17% 2 months into being in office. So Starmer has a horrible approval rating. I don't know what's going on there. Um, and we'll see what happens with that Reform UK. But I heard that he might be out really soon. My reaction to the Indians blowing a 3-1 lead. That was a tough one. That was a tough one against the Cubs. Yeah, I remember that. Oh, the NBA All Star game. That's even worse. The NBA All Star game is horrible. Kalshi, I'm not a big fan of the predictive markets. I think they've taken over. They've gotten out of control. They're all over the place. They're constantly the advertising is crazy. I mean, you've got Logan Paul, or I think it was Logan Paul, like, ooh, he's making a $1 million bet on the game, and they video it and stuff. Their advertising team is just so aggressive with Polymarket and Kalshi, and it's just like constantly in your face with these predictive markets. And you know, I like the predictive markets. I did when back when it was more sequestered around the election and stuff, and in 2024, and they've just completely gotten out of control. I feel like now to where would it maybe some regulation or something. I don't know. I mean, it's just the amount of money they spend on advertising is insane. They must be making a lot of money. Ice Spice, you think Ice Spice is performing next year? Yeah, that'll be. They wonder if they've got that, the Super Bowl performer. U.S. strikes Iran. Yeah, I mean, you can't really fully predict this. I think people think it's going to happen. They just don't know when exactly. Maybe by mid-March. Imagine that happens. I think people are waiting for that when it comes to crypto. There might be another leg down with crypto with Trump doing that. I think there's just going to be another leg down in general with crypto anyways. You don't know who at Turning Point USA thought Kid Rock was relevant to young people. Yeah, that's true. I mean, but who do you get? Who do you get that would really move the needle if you're Turning Point? 60K is the bottom. Yeah, I've heard like 38 to 40, but it might be 60. There's probably at least another leg down. That's why I wouldn't buy. I wouldn't fully invest. But I mean, you're hedging. You might as well DCA into it. We've already had a. I mean, what is the fear and greed at like 10, 5? The midterms. I mean, the midterms are gonna be a slot fest. The midterms are gonna be a challenge, but they have a chance to hold both. Should definitely hold the Senate, but they've got a chance to hold both. You know, there's really no analyzation. It's not worth analyzing right now. It's too early. Let's see what happens in the primaries. Let's see what happens with Trump. Let's see what happens with the economy going into the summer. Because we can talk about crypto all we want, but that's not what the normies are in. The normies are in the stocks. It should be a very good time in the summer for just overall the markets. Yeah, the next Super Bowl is at SoFi again in was that Inglewood, California. Thoughts on Bad Bunny girl dancers twerking? Well, I mean that's what's gonna happen with those shows. I mean, it's not surprising. What kills you about Bad Bunny is that he boycotted touring in the U.S. because of ICE, but he agrees to perform. That's crazy. He actually boycotted because of ICE. He boycotted well, I mean, because it's a money thing, obviously, the amount of eyeballs you get for the Super Bowl. But you know, all these people, it's the same stuff. I mean, and like, what really is the message that we should accept more immigrants? Like, let's be honest, that's the overall message. You know how many immigrants the United States has accepted? We've gone through a unforeseen demographic change in the country in the past 60 years. These people are still trying to it's all about like this guilt of you inherently owe it to all these other people to let them into your country. Like that's really what the heart of this entire thing is. Why do they make crypto taxes so hard? Do you stake? Well, I don't have an asset that's worth staking, but I would certainly stake, absolutely, if you have a good utility coin. If it's a proof of stake coin, 100% you should stake. Crypto taxes, there's website. I mean, it depends. Have you realized profits? I don't think many people have realized profits. There's nothing to tax. But he refused to perform in the US because he was afraid ICE would be waiting at his shows to deport people. He's got a point, honestly. Remember they said ICE was going to go to the Super Bowl? I mean, there's not going to be illegal immigrants at the Super Bowl. Gabe, I appreciate it. Message, you retracted the message. MetLife. Yeah, MetLife hosted one. They're not going to get another one. They're not going to do another cold weather Super Bowl. It's not going to happen. Unless it's a dome, cold weather city. My take on Clav arrested, I don't really care. Yeah, but they act like they tend to, the Puerto Ricans tend to act like they're their own country, but they still benefit significantly from U.S. aid, which is why a lot of them don't really want to become independent officially. So they say they're more independent. They participate in things like the World Baseball Classic as basically a country. It's the U.S. and it's Puerto Rico. They're separate, but they are a territory of the United States. They're in between. They're in between a state and a statehood and independence. They're a territory. I'm sure Democrats would want them to be a state. That would be a mess for Republicans. But I see Republicans that say just let them go, let them be independent. You do lose territory if you do that. You lose a military strategic area. Yeah, I do see some of the athletes at the Olympics dissing ice. I just think they're dumb athletes and they really don't know what it takes to think about a country. I mean that's just like couldn't anyone just say, well, we respect people and we have empathy. It's very easy to have empathy. The hard thing to do is to understand that there's a line in the stand, and for a country to function properly, a first world country to function properly, we can't be dealing with this amount of illegal immigration, the amount of illegals in the country. It's hurting our middle class. It's a problem. It's a lot harder to do that. It's easier to go with the hysteria and say, well, I care about people, and anyone can do that. Why didn't it feel like Super Bowl 60? Because the teams were bad, the quarterback play was bad. The game was at 3:30 in the afternoon local time. You gained a lot of respect for Jake Paul with what he said. Yeah, I saw what he said about that. It's kind of strange that he said it though, because he uses that tax manipulation plan. Is like his primary home is in Puerto Rico. So for him to say that, it's like you're throwing stones from a glass house when you say something like that. Your primary home is in Puerto Rico. Halftime show just felt like This America show. Yeah, it's like a Hispanic celebration. It just for the for a U.S. event. It just why are we doing this? And obviously, it's because they want to globalize the league. But then it's gonna fester into politics, and then people are gonna because he's gonna have a message. Hmm. Military aircraft guarding the stadium and overkill. I didn't see that. I don't know. Is that true? I mean, they have to have some really crazy security. The amount of people that are at the Super Bowl, the amount of important people. I'm kind of surprised Trump didn't go to it because Trump went to the national title game. It's a really taxing for Secret Service when they take Trump to these sporting events. There's a lot that you got to watch. There's you have to change the entire preparation of the game if Trump is going to be at one of these events. Broncos Seahawks, that was a bad one. That was a bad one for sure. But that was a crazy blowout. It was almost kind of that was better. That was more entertaining at least. Well, maybe not really, but this was just a boring one. Are Puerto Ricans technically considered Americans? Well, it is a U.S. territory. A lot of it is dependent on how the people feel, and a lot of the Puerto Ricans don't feel like they don't like Americans. They don't like people within the lower 48, so they don't really consider themselves Americans. But it's a little bit complicated. I mean, technically they're a territory. They can't vote. There's certain things that they don't have that all the states have, but they do get welfare money, that's for sure, from the U.S. government. But it's like it's complicated. Some of them think they are, some of them don't. I mean, Puerto Rico should not be a territory. Yeah, I mean there is a strategic advantage to having that land, but for I mean I would definitely take Greenland. I mean you're not going to be able to trade it like that, but I'd definitely take Greenland for Puerto Rico. But I mean, then what happens to Puerto Rico? It probably it becomes seriously destabilized if you look at what would happen if they actually became independent. There's a lot of corruption within Puerto Rico, and if you don't have the daddy over top, the United States, I think it'd be a big problem for their country. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about really. I didn't watch much of the Super Bowl, so I don't know. I don't really have a big opinion on it. Dude, what is this? He's strapping a living room performance to silence the haters. They said he lip synced. Are you for total deportations for non-white citizens? Total deportations, no, that you wouldn't be able to do that. But I would say remigration of people that recently entered, temporary visas, stuff like that. What would need to be in the Epstein files for you to denounce Trump? Well, I would say it'd have to be a it'd have to be conclusive evidence of serious wrongdoing by Trump. You know, a lot of it's just hearsay, from what I see, and that's really what people say. I mean, even people that don't like Trump, there's really no actual clear evidence. There's just like FBI tips, I think. Pepe, what's up, man? I'm not playing that clip. You're for total deportation regardless of race. Total. What do you mean by that? I mean, obviously, total deportation of illegals, and then there's a lot of visa problems. Let's just say. Yeah, but what you're proposing is that it's not realistic for our current economy. I mean, maybe if AI significantly upscales, but I mean, the jobs we would really we would go through a depression if that happened. I mean, maybe you'd be okay with it for demographic purposes, but that's not a realistic solution for the country as a whole. There's a sick individual bullying an older lady on YouTube. Huh. Ape father? I don't know about that situation, man. Stupid girls Instagram are mass sharing the love stronger than hate scoreboard message. Yeah, what a great message. I mean, obviously there's hidden messages in there in terms of the performance and stuff like that. And but again, anyone can have empathy. It's very easy to have empathy. It's harder to be stern and be emotionless in understanding our country, and really how to preserve the country as a dominant force. And I mean, you look at the middle class. Our middle class is completely floundered, in part because of this mass immigration. They try and defend it and say, well, immigration helps the country. Well, it helps billionaires, yes. Like, you'd think liberals, this is why Bernie Sanders has to be against this immigration, because there's no way there's no way a socialist could agree to this, like a real socialist, because it's terrible for the middle class, for the country. Mass immigration, it's horrible. Like, how are these liberals, who a lot of the younger kids say they're communists or socialists? Very few of them are communists. If they're actual Marxist communists, they wouldn't believe in a country, which is why it doesn't work. Most of them are socialist, and why would they like immigration? They like immigration. They want to bring down the white population, I guess. But in terms of their economic principle, it doesn't make any sense to support mass immigration, unless well, I guess they don't believe in any type of nation state in the first place. Some of the recent blue shifts during Trump era were not because of immigrants, it was due to white suburbanites leaving the party, let's be honest. Yeah, but it's also due to Hispanics shifting to Trump, shockingly, at least in 2024. Thoughts on James Fishback? Yeah, I mean, I get the message. I get the griperism. I don't trust somebody like that, really, and it really seems like an online campaign. It seems almost like a grift to a specific Gen Z audience, and you can kind of see through that. I think he's a relatively articulate guy. That's fine. There's a lot of articulate people in the country. Yeah, that would be sweet if the Super Bowl went back to the Rose Bowl. There's no way it's gonna happen though. It's literally impossible. The amount of money these teams are spending on new stadiums so they could host the Super Bowl. I mean, maybe one year, but then I think that the only way the Rose Bowl could get it is if they had a major renovation themselves. They would have to have a huge renovation. The Rose Bowl would, to get it. I mean, I think Byron Donalds is very unremarkable, and it seems like he's definitely out campaigning Donalds. But Donalds is talking to all these old people, going to all these banquets. It looks like, and so I guess in terms of social media propaganda, he's definitely beating Donalds. But your friend took you to a midget wrestling match in Anaheim. That's it. That's if I went to one of those, it'd be like, is this illegal? It seemed very strange. That's interesting. Pasadena, born and raised, from a few blocks from the Rose Bowl. They are doing renovation to the Rose Bowl, building bars and restaurants. Yeah, but they have to. No, I agree with you. They are doing renovations, but I wonder if they would have to maybe make more comfortable seating as well. It seems like they need new seats at the Rose Bowl, to be fair, and I don't think that's in the renovation plan right now. Pete Hegseth. You think he's a douche? Yeah, Pete Hegseth. I don't know. He's kind of a hard ass. I mean, you're leading the Department of War, I guess. Trump just bombed something. Trump bombed Iran. Nah, that's not gonna happen yet. Casey Putsch. Yeah, I vote for him in the primary. I guess. I don't think he's gonna win. I mean, I saw a poll, but the thing is, with a lot of these polls, it's like they're bad. They're really bad pollsters, and people get excited. Just in, President Trump, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth just blew up another narco terrorist boat in the Eastern Pacific. 2 terrorists were killed. So that's what it was. Yeah, no, I agree. I think Seattle will be getting an NBA team. It should really be Seattle, and I don't think they should do Vegas, but I think it's going to be Seattle, Vegas. Atlas Intel redeemed themselves. Yeah, Atlas is kind of. I think Atlas got bought by some liberals or something. They've started to really struggle with polling. It's unfortunate. I agree with you on the Pelicans. I think they should relocate as well. They need a new arena or they need to relocate. Seriously. This bridge is being built in between the United States and Canada wants full ownership of it. And Trump is angry. The Gators will probably go pretty far the way they've been playing. Depends on their draw, though. You think Louisville and Pittsburgh would be fine for an NBA team. I think Virginia would be a cool to get an NBA team in Virginia would be pretty cool to see. The video on Russian architecture. Yeah, those architecture videos are pretty fun to do. Furry community. Is the furry community still alive? RFK Jr. speech. I haven't seen it. I don't think Russia will overthrow Putin. He's got too much control. It would probably be a civil war within their country if something happened to Putin. It would destabilize their country at least. Yeah, I saw the Megan Kelly stuff. I thought the Megan Kelly stuff is just like I don't know if it's just like she's just annoying Megan Kelly. I'm sorry, she really is. She's like ranting and raving about like calm down. Just calm down. We can talk about this in normal voices. We can explain why it's ridiculous. We don't have to start screaming about it. I feel like Megan Kelly tries to be like a hard bitch. I feel like it's forced. It's like a character. Prime is the most commonly available streaming service at Prime Video. They're all the same to me. I mean, but yeah, I actually don't even know what they are. Amazon Prime Video, you've got YouTube TV, you've got, remember Sling TV, is that still around? I don't really know any of them, honestly. Well, Piers Morgan has like the same 10 people on every fucking time. Who was the one person that used to always go on Piers Morgan? I forget. Fuck. But I feel like he hasn't been doing his shows, or I just haven't seen him recently. Yeah, he got injured. Piers Morgan got injured. That's why he wasn't doing his shows for a month or two. You think Rubio could be a better candidate than Vance? I mean, you'd have to really look at their history. No, I think Vance is probably a better candidate than Rubio. Yeah, Andrew Schultz, I guess he's just it's just those guys are just so fake with any other political support. Well, they had Trump on, so they kissed his ass, and now they've turned on him 6 months later because he did a mean thing and deported people. Okay, like, dude. Yeah, I can't see Rubio being a better candidate than Vance the more that I think about it. I mean, I know Rubio has this like now pristine reputation because they say he's done like 400 jobs within the administration. I don't know how much really Rubio would appeal to. I think Vance would appeal much more to the Rust Belt for sure than Rubio. But I mean, how soon after Trump does the GOP try to distance themselves from MAGA? Well, MAGA is the establishment now. That's what the GOP is. It is MAGA. It is Trump. So there would have to be a leader that would have to usurp that. Vance is a spawn of MAGA, at least Trump. Now maybe Vance turns if he gets in and he's less MAGA. That could happen. But the party is just whatever. The party is MAGA. That's what I mean. That's what the primary in 2024 showed us. You know, the primary was not even competitive. Trump didn't have to do anything because that's what the party is. Shout out to Brad. Yeah, shout out to Brad. You think it's going to turn into groiperism? I don't know. The more that I think, I don't think so. I think a lot of young people are captured by that, but I don't think so. Vance is the better candidate and debater. Rubio has more knowledge. Well, yeah, Rubio has been doing it long. He's got a lot more experience in terms of government office. Your birthday is in 6 days. Project Bluebeam. Blue Bean, you got a YouTube channel, man? You're a big YouTuber. This could be a big collab for me with Blue Bean. You think worrying about demographics is just a weird trend 10 years ago and no one was really talking about it or work? Well, I think it'll continue to just fester. It'll continue to fester. Think about the information we have now, just because realistically, like 10, 20 years ago, you wouldn't really have up to the minute information or the yearly information on the demographical shift. But now that we do, I think people are going to be a lot more cognizant of it, and it's going to. I don't know if it'll be a selling point for people. It really just comes down to if white people want to preserve majority Caucasian country, really, then it would be, if they wanted to, it'd be big. But, a lot of white people are very liberal. Yeah, no, I think the Seahawks 100% will accept the Super Bowl invite. All the teams are accepting the Super Bowl invite now. Maybe not the WNBA team, whoever that is, but I think all the teams are now accepting the invites to go to the White House. Total remigration in Europe is not immoral. And you know what? I think Europe's in an interesting spot. A lot of those countries are starting to turn further to the right. And I think we're going to start seeing some actually farther right parties win in those elections. I know it hasn't happened. People keep saying it's not happening, so it doesn't, but they're like in second place, third place. I mean, now we'll see what happens in terms of the iteration of these so-called far right parties. I mean, people are going to deliberate on whether or not they're actually far right or they're not, or what. Will there be any type of remigration? Their demographics are a lot better than ours in terms of that type of stuff, though. So they could completely shut down immigration and possibly get a lot of that under control if they just do that, if they elect a right wing. I'm talking about like France, Germany, the UK. Yeah, I've been to Florida just once though. Only one time. I didn't go to Walsh. Was that a private high school? I think I didn't go there. Epstein making jerky out of baby meat. It's in the files. I mean, a lot of crazy shit's in the files. Spain amnesty of 500K was horrible. Did you hear about it? I did hear about it. How close were you to actually having a real Valentine on Valentine's Day, or are you a total chud? I never did it growing up and found it corny. Slop holiday. Valentine's Day. What is it? February 14th. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a slop holiday. The Epstein stuff is really impossible to pinpoint because people are just going to say the craziest things about that. I mean, who really knows what we're reading in terms of what's true and what's not? But there's going to be a mass reaction out of it. It's a complete mess, like I said. I'm German descent since I'm a Midwesterner. No, I mean that doesn't 100% mean you're of German descent. There's a lot of Germans, and I know there's a really high amount of Germans in the I think in the plains. What's up with the Mr. Beast challenge? You don't even get the puzzle. Oh, it's just more pay attention to me. You know, who cares? He just wants people to pay attention to him. He does it through money. Empire State Building more iconic than the Twin Towers. Twin Towers more infamous, obviously. The worst white ethnic group. People say Irish. Now, I mean, in terms of U.S. Irish are not that bad. Irish that are in actually native in Ireland, they're very liberal. They're super lib. I don't know. I guess it depends because some people have different uh, categories for certain types on on whether or not you're actually white. Next year's Super Bowl's on Valentine's Day. Yeah, that'll be a woman for sure, doing the halftime show. Bro, I get there's a bridge. Oh my, dude. How many times do we have to see about this bridge? Dude, this bridge, I just can't do it anymore. It's a bridge. You're English, Irish, and German. I think I'm like Scots Irish or some shit. Like just mainly Irish, mainly Celtic. Take $10,000 cash right now, or get the answers to exactly how the pyramids were built. Yeah, I'll just get the answers. Honestly, I'd rather have knowledge. I don't need the 10K that much. I don't know with this bear market, I might need the 10K. Nah, I mean, I want to invest. I have to invest money somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do it. Maybe I'll just do it into normie stocks. I have to talk to somebody. You have a very rare English surname, so then people won't think you're English. You got to use it or you lose it. I don't know what that means. What does that mean in that context? You're talking about semen? Will Gen Z quit working? I guess with the AI, Elon Musk says the universal basic income. That's not happening. That would kind of destroy the economy. because people would get paid for no output. I mean, unless it's all AI based, but still, I'm not even sure how that would really work. A Roth IRA, that's a 1% earning. What the fuck is that? You know, they're making a Scream movie. What is it? Scream 7? I saw the trailers for it. I went to see the one movie. What movie did I see? You're Lost or something about with the Dylan O'Brien. It's a strange movie. I mean, it's all right. I don't know. You know how movies are nowadays. It was like slightly better than average. Is like an entertaining movie, I guess. Something Lost. You think we're gonna get Nick Fuentes' clavicular ticket in 2044? We could only ever be so lucky. That's the American dream, is something like that. But I maybe Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate. Maybe Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate, or Nick Fuentes, James Fishback. That's the American dream. The movie is called Send Help. Yeah, that's what it's called. How much of a goy am I? I don't know. Like I'm like 67% goy. What would you look to explore if you could not get caught? The Temple in Epstein Island or Bohemian Grove? I don't know. Probably Epstein Island. You think it's about women being evil? Yeah, but then it's about the woman boss being able to boss around Dylan O'Brien the entire time. Yeah, but Fuentes is just really anti-Trump. You know, this is the thing with Fuentes is he has his own political movement, right? And he wants the supporters that Trump currently has. So for him, and I mean, listen, the way the country is at this point, you could definitely counter signal if you're further right than Trump, because Trump certainly is not far right. Trump still wants respect from like liberals and everything like that. He cares about what they think. But you know, for him, it's just going to be counter signaling Trump. Yeah, I liked you're analyzing that movie. Yeah, but he was also an asshole as a boss. I mean, you know, that's they're trying to get build up Rachel McAdams' sympathy. We have to have sympathy for her, and then she gets her revenge. But then it just kind of devolved, and I thought it was going on good track. But then it's like now I started to really not care about either of them when they started both getting angry and trying to kill each other. Then it was like now I don't really root for either of them. I think it kind of lost me towards the end. Trump still needs Rhino Center. Think about Congress. I mean, Congress is still it's unfortunate, but it's so powerful. You have to have Congress, and This isn't. It's not a dictatorship. It's not just Trump being able to do whatever he wants. There has to be reliance on so many other people, unfortunately. Well, I guess if in a way, fortunately as well, because the checks and balances. But to radically change anything in the United States is so challenging because of it. MAGA cannot stand Lindsey Graham, and Trump is still best friends with him. 100%. I mean, Trump is still a boomer. That's the thing that people have to understand. He's still a boomer. He's still friends with a lot of these pure rhino types. He's really old. I mean, and it's not me knocking Trump. It's just kind of contextualizing him as an individual. He's very old. Brandon Gill said he's worried about Pakistani immigrants in Texas because his wife is Indian. Yeah, I know he's trying to be like a based representative. I've seen some of his stuff. Dan Bongino is just Dan Bongino is just annoying. I'm sorry. It's enough. So he comes back and it's like this thunderous return to podcasting, and he's gonna shape up the entire party. Really, he's getting his vengeance after not doing anything. And then they say they did stuff. I mean, obviously, if you're in that position, you're gonna do stuff, but they completely botched the most important thing. I think the country will be done with electing people this old. Yes, it's just based on. Now you could say, well, if somebody is really fit for the age, but it's just based on having two eyeballs to understand that it's not ideal to have people this old. It's just not something that should. You're not in your prime mentally this late. Whether it be Biden or Trump. I mean, there is you want them to have some level of experience. I agree, but when you get to like the 70s, it's enough. You can invest in most assets within a Roth IRA. This includes cryptocurrency. The upside is you never will pay taxes on it, literally zero taxes. Tony, I appreciate the donation. I need you as my financial advisor. Yeah, that was a bad injury by Lindsey Vonn. I saw that. She had already torn her ACL or something and then had that happen. That's terrible. Change the presidency to 1 6-year term with no chance of re-election. Well, that's a curveball, right? That's I'd have to really think about that. I mean, you get 6 years, midterms every 3 years. I mean, I don't know, man. I think ideally you want to, but this is the thing. It's like it just divulges. I'd like Trump to have all the time in the world, but not Obama, not Biden. So what do we really do about that? It's like it's a double-edged sword. Trump has aged by 20 years in the past 18 months. It's hard. I mean, with Trump, they conceal it a lot just with all the makeup and stuff. I think he looks the same, honestly. I mean, maybe behind the scenes, he's aging more. You don't outright support term limits in Congress. You think it'd be too chaotic. I think there has to be some form of term limits, or at least age limits, right? Like, it's just it's gotten out of hand, and they've abused it. Do you think the incel crisis and pandemic will continue to get worse with social media, or do you think it'll get better? I think it maybe at some point, it'll turn if guys stop going on dating apps. It might turn a little bit. But the other thing is with women in the U.S., it's just they're unapproachable. They don't care. They have their own assets. They're told they don't need a man unless he's very high value. Insane hypergamy. They all have I mean, there's a lot of really negative stuff going on with that. Kelshi is taking bets on if anyone from the Epstein list will be arrested by 2027. 7%. Wow, only 7% that someone from the list will be arrested. Yeah, that's probably right, honestly. That's probably right. Jeffrey Epstein confirmed to be alive. Yeah. If you put your money in Escov, you'll actually have access to it while not paying taxes. Escov. Yeah, but the thing, I mean, I'm sure this is all stuff that'll be explained to me if I go this route. SpaceX, largest IPO by market cap. OpenAI. OpenAI is they're getting a stock now. Yeah, but that's the thing is for someone like me, a 4% return, it wouldn't be worth it. I mean, yeah, if you're a millionaire, I guess a 4%. But even if you're a millionaire, what's a 4% return a yearly, like 40K for a million? I don't know if that's even worth it. I mean, obviously it's no risk, and I guess it just hedges against inflation, so it makes sense to do it. But even if you have 100K, there's no way it'd be worth doing that because you only get $4,000 a year for that. Yeah, OpenAI and SpaceX, if they have stocks, if they it lowers your tax bracket if you're rich because it doesn't count as your net worth or your income. Thoughts on the halftime show? Yeah, it's just not. I'm not gonna like it. I mean, I don't speak Spanish. Mike Lindell. Yeah, Mike Lindell is running. Oh man, against Amy Klobuchar. Really? Mike Lindell is gonna give free pillows to all Somalians on their flights back to Somalia. That's what, dude. That's what Mike Lindell should say at a campaign rally. We're gonna give free pillows to all the Somalians for their flights back to Somalia. and then he just wins right after that. It's a mic drop. You'll vote for Byron Donalds? Really? I mean, he's really getting out campaigned by Fishback, but I don't really like Fishback either. The Mike Lindell TV reporter, that woman, yeah, I remember her. Whatever happened to her? Mike knows how to hire reporters. Byron will have Florida, so Hood ghetto. Yeah, I mean, I think it's bad choices. They're trying to go from DeSantis to either Fishback or Byron Donalds, basically. But I don't know, is there anyone else? There is another person in there, I forgot who it is, but... Yeah, the My Pillow guy has no chance. People are angry that he's running, but I don't think there'd be any... Well, you'd think maybe there would be some independent normies in Minnesota that would be like, there's too much fraud, let's vote for a good conservative, but then it's Mike Lindell. So they just kind of screw themselves, conservatives do, in terms of some of these candidates. That's what people say. Maybe if he offers free pillows, it might sway it a little bit. It might sway it a bit if he offers free pillows to independent white people in Minneapolis. I don't know. Maybe it would help. Maybe it might swing the election. Heard Somalians are in Ohio. Have you seen them? They're in Columbus. They are in Columbus. It's the second biggest cohort behind Minneapolis. Somalians. I never seen them. I don't go to Columbus, so I don't know. But I know they're in Columbus. I've heard about that. He has a dark vision for Florida. Really, bro? The pandering, the subliminal messaging. All right, I'll try and find it, but it's going to be a challenge. Let's just say that. Anti-American radical? Yeah, how do you cancel on your shows because you're afraid of ICE and then you perform at the Super Bowl? Come on, man. This dude just freaking played our country like a fiddle. This dude fucking played our country like a fiddle. White suicidal guilt will do that.
I'm sorry, Piers, but to get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? We have 310 million who don't speak a lick of Spanish. This is supposed to be a unifying event for the country, not for the Latinos, not for one small group, but for the country. We don't need a black national anthem. We don't need a Spanish-speaking, non-English performer, and we don't need an ICE or America hater featured as our primetime entertainment.
Okay, what is the national language, officially, the national language of the United States of America?
It's English. We changed it.
I mean, English. And there's been a push for many
Yeah, Trump changed it to English.
Many years to make it an official
you don't have one.
Documented thing.
You don't have one.
If you would have let me.
Yeah, but no. I think there was seriously something about Trump making it national. Is that official now? Trump made it official, I thought.
Let me finish my comment. Well, I would have pointed that out, but people have been pushing to make it official.
Okay, so you're trying to make official.
This attitude that you have right here is why you in Great Britain have lost your culture. You ceded your culture to a bunch of radical Muslims who came in and took over, and now it's gone. We're not allowing that here, whether it's Hispanic.
She should have said Trump literally just changed it officially to English. What would he have even said about that then?
whether it's Muslim. It's not happening in the United States of America. That's why President Trump was elected. And whether it's Bad Bunny, who is American but refuses to speak English in his performances, or anybody else, we have to keep the Super Bowl, which is a quintessential American event. Football, that kind of football, is ours. They call it American football. And the halftime show and everything around it needs to stay quintessentially American. Not Spanish, not Muslim, not anything other than good old-fashioned American apple pie. There should be a meatloaf, maybe some fried chicken, and an English-speaking performer. That's what the Super Bowl should be.
Whoa. $15% GDP growth in a year? $4% every quarter? Oh man, these
The
liberals.
SAVE Act is expected to be brought this week to the floor for a vote. Do you support voter ID for elections?
Well, it depends on what you mean by voter ID. When you want to say that everyone has to produce a birth certificate, including women whose married names are not on their birth certificates, that
Dude, I love how they try and use this. They try and use this little out of like, well, married women can't technically vote. It's completely false. It's complete bullshit. Like, the fact that they even use this, they know it's the most ridiculous thing ever. This act has 80% approval among Americans. You show your ID.
creates a real problem for me.
Well, isn't that just one of the first steps in getting married is getting a new ID?
Actually, it's not getting a new birth certificate, because part of what the SAVE Act does is it says most driver's licenses around the country won't work as an ID. And that creates a terrible problem.
But you need an ID to do just about anything in America.
She seems so upset.
You need one to
Don't
vote
need
in
a
elections?
birth certificate. I hope you know that.
Thank you. The SAVE Act is
She's probably lying about that too. She's probably lying about everything. These people, the SAVE Act has like a 90% approval rating. They just lie about, oh, you need an ID. What's the problem? Just go show your ID. Go show your birth certificate if you have to. Go get a birth certificate. She was trying to sound like pretentious a little bit there. Get a passport card? I mean, seriously, what's the issue? You can't get like a freaking... Is the paper gonna attack you? Is the birth certificate... Is printing out a birth certificate gonna... Is the printer gonna attack you when you print it out? Like, it's this horrible thing. Carrie Lake, I don't think is running for anything. Is Carrie Lake running for another? She's already lost like 3 times. I don't think it's gonna happen for her. Could I throw a football 40 yards? I'd have to warm up. Sorry about that.
Congresswoman, you're here today talking about affordability. What do you have to say to Americans who are concerned about the fact that you went into Congress with a negative net worth and now you're reportedly worth over $8 million? No comment?
I wish you people would stop reporting fake news. You don't know anything about me and my life. I was raised in a single-parent home. Every single thing my family and I have, we have earned. And you are reporting fake news. And you should be asking, well, do your homework. That's how you get clarity.
What should I be asking?
You should do your homework, and that's how you get clarity, okay? That's how you get clarity. Do your homework.
You're knocking capitalism, but isn't that... Thank you.
It's a complete non-answer. She had no answer. She tried to guilt trip the reporter.
Ms. Maxwell, were you a close friend and confidant of Jeffrey Epstein?
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions. My habeas petition is pending in the Southern District of New York. I therefore invoke my right to silence under the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Let the record reflect that Ms. Maxwell has invoked the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination. Ms. Maxwell, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Ms. Maxwell, did you at any time play any role in Jeffrey Epstein's activities involving the recruitment, grooming, or trafficking of young women or girls?
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Let the record reflect that Ms. Maxwell has invoked the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination. Ms. Maxwell, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
I invoke my Fifth
Yeah, this is just nothing.
Voter ID is something that a large majority of Americans support. Kentucky does require voters to show an ID for federal and state elections. Where do you fall on the SAVE Act specifically?
Well, I consider myself pragmatic. I think that we can agree that election security is an important thing. But when you create policies that are so onerous, you push people out who have the right to vote, who should be able to register. And so I think on any policy, you got to look at what's reasonable.
That doesn't even make sense. Doesn't even make sense. No, everyone can vote. If you're a citizen, you got to register properly. Ugh. I'll be right back.
For 20 years, I was, screaming about this with nobody paying attention, no pediatricians, which is really strange. What happened to the pediatricians? They know, some of them have been working for 20 years and they know that kids are not, they're seeing this increase, this influx in all these diseases. And I was censored and shut down. But I prayed every single day that God would put me in a place where I could fix this. And so for me, when President Trump asked me to join his campaign in August of 2024, it felt providential. It felt like the answer to prayers. And then, he kept his word to me on everything and more. He invited me to be part of his transition team. I'm the first HHS secretary in history that was able to choose all of my agency heads, Marty and Jay and Dr. Oz. That's never happened before. And I think because of that, we have a collegiality and a sense of teamwork. And, we're trying to make it easier for parents to make good choices.
Who's worse at their job? Kristi Noem, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi. Probably Bondi. I mean, Gnome doesn't have the same responsibility. Yeah, I don't know what this RFK Jr. stuff is. This is some It's about some diet. You think ESPN should rename to ABC Sports? Why do you say that? Yeah, but Gates would have never gotten through. I guess it would have been interesting with Gates. What are my thoughts on the Guthrie kidnapping? I mean, it seems like a really weird, sad situation. When is the last time we've seen something like this? No, I think there's no way the Seahawks repeat. I don't think they're really that. I don't think they're really that type of a team. They have a good defense, I guess, but... Dude, you've been trolling this entire stream. You think the Browns will win the Super Bowl? Probably. They're going to have a great shot next year, that's for sure. Hello from Indiana. What do you consider the start of baseball season? You would say Memorial Day, the weekend of Memorial Day. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends how big of a baseball fan you are, because there's a lot of really big baseball fans that, they like the spring training and stuff, and depends. If you're just a casual fan, I guess Memorial Day, like June 1st, like... Yeah, no, it's fine, man. It's not a big deal. Eagles, Bengals, Super Bowl, really? The Bengals just... I don't see with the Bengals, man. I mean, I guess if Burrow's healthy, but it's going to be a challenge for them. Their defense. I think the Yankees they didn't do anything in the offseason. They're probably going to be the same team. They are going to be the same team. The Yankees always have good rosters, but they've just been completely outclassed by the Dodgers in terms of roster construction. Like, they've been, and I guess they don't spend as much money now as the Dodgers, and the Dodgers have just owned them in terms of using deferments and stuff like that. And because the Yankees are really the only team that could potentially rival the Dodgers, and they're just getting lapped by the Dodgers. Is Randy Fine the worst Republican in office? Randy Fine is actually, on certain things, really, really good, like extremely aggressive on certain things. I don't know if it really matters in terms of him actually passing policy, but obviously he's a Zionist shill. But on certain things, it's pretty funny to see his proposals. Yeah, dude, if you're not a sub 10-minute runner, I was like 7:20. But the fastest kid was a tryhard at like 5:50. There was a few kids around 6 minutes, and then, you're in decent enough shape. You should be like 7 minutes, 7:20, like 4th grade or whatever it was. The mile run that we would do. You got to run the mile. That's good. I like that. I wonder if kids still do that. You run the mile in elementary school. At least they could stay in somewhat. Well, that doesn't really put you in good shape, but you'd have to actually train and do it a lot, but. Dodgers. Well, dude, the Dodgers almost lost to the Blue Jays. I mean, with baseball, it's easier for the most dominant team to lose, but because their roster is constructed in such a way, I mean, more times than not, like if you play a simulation 100 times, they're probably going to win like 70 times. Like I don't know about 70 times, but the majority in terms of relative to other teams. But that doesn't mean they're going to win in real life. Yeah, there was a streaker, dude. There's always streakers every year at the Super Bowl. Now it's they're trying to get fame with they live stream it. Yeah, you shouldn't. The players shouldn't do anything, but I don't think they're going to be sued or anything. They have no grounds. What is the fan going to sue the player for? I don't see that. Why was the Chiefs? Because the Chiefs shouldn't have been in it last year. They really didn't have a good team. They were completely outmatched by the Eagles. The Chiefs had no business being in the Super Bowl last year. Your mile PR was 5 minutes 17. So I mean, that's possible. I don't know if you're trolling or not. That is possible. 5 minutes 17 if you really train. I mean, if I really trained for 6 months, I could probably get it under 6. I mean, anyone can really do it, unless you're like fat and you have to like baseline lose weight. You know, the thing is, this is like you're starting to see something weird has happened where my body is starting to reposition, you know, weight and stuff, and it's just like fuck. Because I used to work out every single day, and I actually think I weighed more then, but now it's like I have more fat. It's like my body has exchanged muscle for fat. I'm not even kidding. It's very sad. It's like I haven't gained weight on a scale, but my body is like reproportioning fat in my body because I haven't worked out. So that's actually a thing to where you should work out. I mean, you start dealing with this because it's been like 3 years, and you have muscle memory. Like I still have built up pecs, but my body is just repositioning and just store. You know, it's not good when you're sedentary like this. It really is. Your body starts doing things, even if you don't overeat. It's a problem. You work out every day. The thing is I can maintain a body fat. I can maintain a weight just because I don't eat a ton. But now you start realizing it doesn't even matter. Your body will start becoming. Your body will start just converting muscle into fat. From what I see, I mean that's what I surmise it is. I mean. When you go back to working out, your body will snap. That's the thing is, if I worked out honestly 3 straight months, I think I'd have I would flush a lot of the bloat because I've already got the baseline where I'm not dealing with a weight issue. You need to get your rib fixed. I need to get my shin fixed. Well, my doctor told me I have plantar fasciitis. I'm going to have to start going in the hot tub and trying to work it out. It's like my right foot. But I mean, this is like sedentary lifestyles. You know what? I want to talk about that to people. Maybe I'll do a video and tell people, if you're sedentary, it doesn't matter if you don't gain weight. Your weight will be redistributed, and you're going to look like shit. I mean, this is unfortunate. You could be in relatively good shape, at least on the scale. But it does. I mean, maybe I'll have to look it up to make sure. But because it happened to me. Deep tissue foot massages hurt like an MF. Or yeah, well, they say to put like a. I have to really. I'm going to have to hurt my foot to fix it. I feel like you have to really dig into it. But I can't go to physical therapy or anything like that for something like this. Hell, that'd be nice, but I'll just have to fucking do it myself. $5 minute 17 mile is good, but it's pretty common among dedicated runners. Well, didn't the one there's a white dude that had like a 3, didn't he set the record for high school? He had like a 3 minute, I don't know if it's possible. It was like 3 minutes 50 seconds or something. He set the record. I saw it on X. Kansas, Arizona. I think Kansas wins. Arizona's gonna have to lose at some point, man. For Arizona, it's better to lose a few games. That like, because when you're undefeated, there's this spectacle. Everyone's like, when are you gonna lose? They could lose a few games, still be a 1 seed, and be fine. Yeah, plantar fasciitis. I don't really know why players are out because of it. I feel like if I took a shot that the players take, a painkiller, I feel like I'd be fine for at least 5 or 6 straight hours where my foot wouldn't hurt at all. It doesn't even hurt that much. Maybe they have worse versions of plantar fasciitis than I have. That's probably why they can't play through it. But players are like, yeah, it's really painful. You may have finally found a girlfriend. Well, I mean, congratulations, Benjamin. I don't think I've ever seen you in the chat. They will send us to prison for not paying our taxes, only for us to live off the taxes we didn't pay for. That's an interesting point. You seen the Norwegian prisons? They're like dorm rooms. They can get away with doing that. How's your crypto? Yeah, everything's a dumpster. Everything's a dumpster. And it's going to get worse. But it's like, do you pull it now? The thing is, like, I know it's going to get worse, but I don't want to pull it. Because I like the pain. Like, I like the pain of it. I mean, what do you pull it? We all expect it to get worse. There's going to be another leg down. Unless it acts differently than it has the past 2 cycles. You made a joke about putting a swastika on the Trump arch. Oh, okay. I mean, I guess I remember that joke. There's no crying in the casino. Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? It's unfortunate. There's really nothing we could have done with how shitty Ethereum was this cycle. I mean, if you were to tell me if you were to tell me Ethereum was what it was, I would have said, fuck this. I'm not investing into these coins. Not if Ethereum's going to shit the bed this bad, not even make a new all-time high. You sold all your Bitcoin at 120K. If you actually did that, that's a very shrewd move. You could rebuy probably double the amount when it goes down to 60, or it's already gone down to 6. Has it gone down? Yeah, it's gone down to like 60, and now it's back up to like 72 or something. But I think it's probably got another leg down. Yeah, Ethereum's been what is the future for Ethereum? I mean, would anyone really buy it? I mean, I guess institutions are still buying Ethereum and they have treasuries, but it's pretty crazy. I guess Ethereum is just considered like a potential 2 or 3x. Maybe now it's the next XRP. Do you think that we should put an eagle on the arch like in the original plan? The drawing? Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think they should keep it pretty simple just because if you add too much clutter, it kind of takes away from the architecture. Bears-Colts game. Bears Colts. Oh, when Devin Hester, I was pretty young for that game when Devin Hester returned the kickoff. And then I think the Colts won that game. Halftime show, just anti-white propaganda. Yeah, I mean, it was subtle, but it's just like the Spanish shit. It's an angel or a winged figure. Yeah, it's something like that. Seahawks Steelers was bad. That was really almost before my time. I don't think I watched that because I was young. Yeah, that is, that's part of the thing. He was trying to make the entire continent people be America. I mean, they're trying to like take away the culture of, what it is to be an American, I guess, by saying everyone within the two continents is an American technically. It's like, really? Are Latinos not mixed white? I think it gets complicated, like, because now you're talking about, well, is it 75% white? Is it like white Hispanics to where they're like mainly white? And then it gets complicated with that. Yeah, that's the next thing they'll do is they'll try and lump in a bunch of the white Hispanics in with white people in general. Start accepting Argentina. Yeah, Argentina is a really good country for potential immigration. I agree with that. I don't know about Cuba, Uruguay. I mean, I think Ukraine, Argentina, obviously any of the Scandinavian countries, but they're already first world countries. You're not going to get a ton of immigrants from there. America was built by immigrants. I'm too stunned to speak. How about that, dude? When is the first person going to go mainstream for being like, yeah, they're all white immigrants, and then they try and challenge? It's like, bro, the entire infrastructure, the entire governmental setup, all of the innovation. Cuban Americans are pretty conservative. I don't know, man. That's what they say about Hispanics, and it's like the more we bring them in, it seems like the more liberal it gets. They say like Hispanics are more conservative because they're Catholic, but then I feel like I mean, I guess some of them have been voting with Trump and stuff, but I don't know about Jake Paul's wife. I don't know, winning a gold medal. I'm not sure who that is. Yeah, Portnoy is obnoxious. That's an obnoxious individual, man. You see him try to run? That's really bad. That is a horrific display. Yeah. I don't think he's going to be racing anyone with that. He can't even run. Remember when the dude questioned him on pizza? He's like, what do you think about... Dude, he got so angry. The dude was like, what do you think about pizza being a code word for all these pedos and the Epstein? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Make it make sense. He's like, make it make sense. And then he's like, I'm going to tell you, man, I love pizza. And then Dave Portner is like, no, you said conspiracy. I don't do conspiracies. And oh, man. You could tell he knew exactly what he was talking, because they all use pizza, hot dog, walnut, cheese. Those are the code words they use. What if he was just like, you want some pizza? He's like, I don't know what you're saying. Make it make sense. And he's like, but the conspiracy. And then Dave Portnoy is like, he's like, oh, you said conspiracy? I don't do conspiracies. I'm out. Yeah, I saw the Canada Bridge thing. I got like 5,000 tweets about it. There was like 5,000 tweets. I got inundated with information on the bridge. I don't know what they're going to do. Yeah, dude, those lyrics are pretty bad. I mean, I didn't hear all the lyrics translated. I heard some of them. It's really bad, I know. Dude, that's got to be like one of the most irritating things to have pizza be a code word and you're a pizza reviewer. Someone should ask him about that again. He would get really angry. Yeah, you're right. The arch is going to be almost as tall as the Capitol if it's 250 feet. Which I think is good. I don't think it's an overkill. I don't think it's an overkill. It's large, but you know, you want it to be. You want it to be a little bit overwhelming. But I don't think it's a crazy overkill, honestly. What are you drinking? I'm drinking Brisk iced tea on a Brisk fruit punch. It's good for you. Why not rewrite immigration law? It's broken. Immigration law, I mean, it doesn't matter if you just stop illegals from entering and stop immigration altogether. There's your immigration law. That's really what the immigration law is. Thoughts on good hobbies? You gotta find something you're passionate about, I guess, to do in your spare time. A lot of people do video games or... Brisk. Yeah, Brisk is good. Brisk is really good. I don't know. I don't know if I would really like the main, because that's not the main flavor Brisk. That's like, it's literally just fruit punch. It's like Hawaiian punch, but a different variant of it. Like, that's what it is. I'm trying to get back into skiing, but you know, it's tough. It's tough on the eastern side of the U.S., the East Coast. I don't think the bottom is in. I would be lying if I told you I thought the bottom was in for crypto. I don't see how it's in unless it's a completely different deviation from what normally happens in a 4-year cycle. You know, I've seen what a lot of the top guys are saying. They say the bottom is probably going to be in the summer or the fall, which to me lines up more so with how a 4-year cycle would work. But again, I mean, that's obviously maybe people don't believe in the 4-year cycle anymore. I don't know, but any new Lego sets? I have a backlog of Lego sets. I probably have about 5 that I haven't built yet. So I don't think I'm going to get any new ones until I'm able to build those. It just doesn't make a lot of sense at this point. Yeah, Utah has great skiing for sure. Utah, Colorado. Montana has some good resorts. California has great resorts. Or maybe not great resorts, but... Utah is, I think Utah is getting a little bit more liberal. I guess that's what happens with like Salt Lake City, but Vermont, yeah, Vermont in terms of the East Coast skiing has the best skiing out of any East Coast state. I would say Vermont for sure. Honest opinion on Trump and the Epstein files, is he guilty or is it all BS? Yeah, I really haven't seen any true smoking gun against Trump. But I mean, obviously, this is Trump's DOJ. Are they really going to release any of that type of stuff? So you know, it's one of those tough things. Utah is the worst Republican state because of Mormons. You got to be Mormon. Yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of it's just like a Mormon state, Utah. It's like, but you could go there on vacation and stuff. It'd be good, especially a ski trip. Trump is protecting friends. Yeah, I mean, that's probably also what it is. They're going to strike Iran. I mean, the other thing is with crypto, and I don't know how much it'll be affected by it, but if it's already in an unstable position in terms of the support it currently has and something happens with Iran, I mean, that could be a cascade to where it, you know, it nudges crypto and it nudges Bitcoin down another level, which would be around maybe 58 to 60 or maybe lower, I guess lower than that. Because it already hit 60, didn't it? There's a lot of empty space in this country to build on. A lot of empty space. Vance condemning Nick Fuentes was a bad idea. You think they are underestimating how big Nick Fuentes' following is? No, he had to do that. He was going to... Because the thing is, if Vance doesn't do that, he's a bitch. I mean, with what Nick Fuentes has said about Vance's wife and stuff, you have to do that. He had to do it. And he didn't want to do it to Nick Fuentes' followers. Because I think they think, well, you know, that would probably not be great for his reelection. But he kind of had to. Otherwise, he would be seen as a bitch, honestly. Trump post Bolt. I saw Trump post something about the map and, you know, Greenland being part of the U.S. It's just like a troll he does. Arizona at Kansas. I think Kansas wins. Arizona's going to lose. You know, and also Arizona's had a relatively easy Big 12 schedule. They've got like 5 or 6 games. I think they're going to probably lose to Houston as well. They'll lose to at least one of them. Allen is just a crazy place to play. I mean, they're a really good team though. Arizona, they could go in and win, I guess. You were in Salt Lake City. You know, Salt Lake City, I hear, has gotten no snow at all. And it doesn't really surprise me based on the weather that we've gotten for them. But I hear the West Coast has had some tough times with lack of snow. But Salt Lake apparently has gotten just like 1 inch of snow. Denver's gotten no snow. You know, those climates are changing. They get it in the higher elevations, I guess, but The cities are getting just no snow. You were in Salt Lake City in September, and the Walmart you went to was full of Africans and women in hijabs. Yeah, well, I mean, that's how it changes in those big urban areas. That's unfortunate. Colorado has been 60 to 70 for weeks. Yeah, because we've gotten hammered with cold. It's the jet stream is really high in the western side of the country, but I think it's changing now. I think there should be colder weather. Are you doing an updated video on the new A's stadium? I don't know. Is there a new update? I don't think there's really any crazy new updates. It's finally going to be warm here tomorrow. Well, you know what? I was thinking it's probably going to be in the 30s. We're finally getting to weather into the 30s, but I don't think it's really going to melt. We have a pretty big snowpack here now. We probably have about 12 inches of snow on the roofs, on the ground. It hasn't melted, and now it's frozen. Maybe it'll start melting slightly, but even if it's in the 30s, it's really not going to melt that much. It'd have to also be aided by the sun. You're tired of winter? Well, this year's been especially bad. It's been in Ohio, northeast Ohio. It's been just the cold has been really crazy relative to normally what it is. Because now we really haven't, they say, I think Lake Erie is completely frozen over. We don't even get lake effect snow anymore. We get barely any snow in the past 2 weeks. We've gotten nothing. We don't, because Lake Erie is frozen. Even though America is less white than Europe, our non-white immigrants are way better than Europe's. Yeah, I know that, and that's obviously an argument. And a lot of those European countries are already in pretty precarious spots because they have the European Union, but still they're all landlocked with each other. The U.S. is one big conglomerate, and we have a lot of area to spread out. But you can say that, and then you look at all of our urban centers, and they're all majority minority. So it's like we want to go to a big city. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of ways to look at that type of stuff. But I do know that yes, in terms of the Latin American immigrants, a lot of the Catholics, they're a lot better than the Muslims that the European countries get. But even assimilation, I mean, I see some of the Hispanics. There's really not a lot of assimilation going on in the U.S. Although, I don't know, maybe it's just videos I see. Yeah, New York, well, upstate New York is colder than where I'm at. And it gets really cold up there. You wanted to live in the UK, but it's always cloudy there. Oh, it is. Ireland is extremely cloudy. The UK is extremely cloudy. They barely get any sun hours. I mean, that's the crazy thing with the United States relative to these European countries. They don't understand. I mean, you look at how their cities are constructed. These are a lot older cities. They make fun of Americans for our lack of public transportation. We just have way more land than them. And also, we have a more lucrative economy. We've got higher wages overall. So people are able to spread out. Obviously, people are going to want their own land. They're going to want their own little plot of acreage. They're going to want their own house versus some type of, apartment where you're raising kids with a bunch of other people. And that's the thing, is they make fun of it. And I do think the United States, the city planning has been really bad in terms of the amount of parking lots. But they're trying to get away from that in the U.S. They're trying to limit the parking lots now in the urban centers. But the problem is they've already built all of it. It's like you need to build a new. If they could build a new city, ideally most of the city, the functionality and the infrastructure of the city would be underground. Just like they did with Boston. You remember Boston had that major highway system going right through their city. They put it underground. It took them 20 years to do it. But that's the type of stuff you need to do. All the infrastructure should be underground. A lot of the transportation should be underground, I think. Democrats want people to not own cars. Yeah, that is part of it. And the thing is with public transportation is only as good as the public. that takes care of it. And that's the problem, is you've got these urban areas. These people they don't have any courtesy. And it's obvious as to why. But you're not going to have a good experience with public transportation with the type of people that we're dealing with in these urban centers at all. Nobody has anything against public transportation. When you have these people and you have to share a space, it becomes a problem. Do I think America on Ice type game would ever happen? No, I don't think people would care as much. I don't think people would care as much. The NYC subway was originally built to European areas of the city. Then it got gentrified by non-Euros. Yeah, well, you definitely need subway systems when you get that type of population density. There's no question about that. Yeah, people love NYC. I mean, the city design is impressive. It's unfortunate the policies that they have there and stuff, but it's a spectacle for sure. I'm not a huge fan of all the skyscrapers. I don't really like skyscrapers, but I guess they can be They can be cool to look at. The major urban that are still majority white, though, are super liberal, like Portland and Seattle, because they don't have conservative moderates holding them. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, 100%. In some cases, like in NYC, they can actually be more liberal than the minorities. So think about it. I mean, that just shows you how ass backwards a lot of this stuff is. It's so crazy how a lot of those, they always cite these smaller cities in Massachusetts because of how, how great the education is. They're all like 98% white. I mean, I don't know how, if you're a liberal, you're citing cities that are 98% white. Doesn't that disprove your entire theory? Like, isn't the number one liberal theory is diversity? And you're citing cities as good examples of liberalism. They're 98% white. Files confirm Donald Trump blew the whistle on Jeffrey Epstein's disgusting activities in a 2006 phone call with the police. Now, that might be a good narrative for him. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Ukraine and Russia. It's a lot of drone. It's really ugly. There's a lot of drone warfare. There's a lot of drone killings. I mean, it doesn't really seem like, at this point with Russia, Ukraine, I mean, it seems like basically nothing is getting accomplished. But, obviously internally they both have, especially Russia, they have a certain level of land that they want. And it's complex because they want certain leverage going into negotiations if it gets there. And I guess they haven't gotten to that point yet. You live in Knoxville, Tennessee now? That's a college town, right? Yeah, I think Russia versus Ukraine really should end. But again, I don't know what Russia wants exactly. I guess they want maybe a third of Ukraine, or I don't know. Zelensky doesn't want a deal. No, I mean, to be fair, Zelensky, they've agreed to many deals. It's Russia's the one that they won't agree to deals. You have to be fair at a certain point. I mean, if he's agreeing to him, he's agreeing to him. I guess maybe Russia deems them unfair, but they're made by, like, the U.S. These are, like, independent peace partition plans that are just... Would you leave the country if it got completely overrun? I don't think it can ever really... I mean... How can it really be completely overrun? There's so much empty land that can be utilized. You wish the Vikings kept Darnold? Thank you for the donation, Alex. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's pretty crazy considering his record with the Vikings. but it's obviously they thought they had a young quarterback in McCarthy. Yeah, no, I think the war is terrible between those two countries. It's just bad overall. And a lot of good people dying. And, you know, Russia is going to say it's justified. And, I mean, it's a superpower, obviously. But it's, you know, we're not in the position that Russia is to where they lost a bunch of their satellite states. And Dems are defending Somalian fraud and refuse to assimilate. Yeah, there's no assimilation. You bring in people like that, you're not going to get assimilation. I don't even think it's possible. But we should know this. But I mean, I think internally people understand. They have to understand certain things that are just straight real when it comes to like demographics and races. Like you have to understand certain things. But a lot of them, they also, I don't think, really know the history of the United States. That seems to be a big problem. Who's Ohio State's offensive coordinator? I think Arthur Smith. The white population has doubled the last 100 years, but the percentage is lowered. Yeah, it's just because it's all first world. You know, look at the Asian first world countries. They're even worse off than we are. They have lower birth rates. Look at Japan and South Korea. China, well, their numbers are all lies anyway, so it's hard to tell their birth rate. But a lot of the Asian countries have low birth rates. By the way, India's birth rate is starting to plummet. I mean, obviously they have an insane overpopulation problem, but even their birth rate is going down. It's really like select African countries that have crazy high birth rates. Yeah, I don't know how Korea, you know, they say that South Korea is the birthplace of feminism. I mean, what is that going to, is that going to extinct their people? Is the feminist movement going to extinct their people because their birth rate is so low? I mean, at least here we have Republican or conservative replacement level birth rate in the United States. Caitlin Collins is weirdly hot and looks like a dude at the same time. Yeah, I mean, Caitlin Collins, she's okay, I guess. Japan has such a low birth rate where they offer fertility to Western men who migrate there. Yeah, they're really trying. They're trying to do everything in Japan to try and improve it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this live stream. I'm going to end it there. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I didn't really watch I watched some of the Super Bowl, not a ton though. You think Africans at the end of the century will make up half the world's population? I mean, that's where the trend is going. But Africa is a legitimately massive continent. It doesn't get warped at all by the map. Like if you understand how the map that we're showing works, I mean, Africa's a huge continent. All right, guys, I will see you later. Please like the video down below. Thank you.